It's not so clear in every jurisdiction, in part because I got to tell you that, for example, in PJM, where much of the East operates, there is a capacity market as well as an energy market, and it's not clear that the construct of that market works as well as it's worked in Texas. And I know the panel this morning was debating, well, what price incentives are going to be sent to build this, that, or the other thing. And I would comment about this both in Texas and elsewhere. By the way, I'm a nuke. I think you kind of figured that out from my background. I'm actually, in terms of future nuclear plants, I'm a reluctant nuke. Not because I'm in fear of the technology, but I'm a business person also. And just to make a comment, there is nobody out there, nobody that's going to build a 1,000-megawatt power plant. $7 billion would be my best estimate. I don't even know if that's right. And I can tell you, it ain't lower than that. If my estimates are wrong, it's on the other side of that. No one is going to build a $7 billion power plant for a few hours of high-priced energy that may or may not materialize. So from that perspective, I have an opinion. You can move down from there, and other generation sources are less expensive and may be able to meet that test with less requirements. But I'd even point to Texas and say NRG was here ready to build the third unit at South Texas Project when natural gas prices were $10 to $15 a million. What happened to NRG when gas prices went to 3 or 4 at Henry Hub 2 for a while? No more South Texas Unit 3. And I think that QED, that's the dynamic I'm describing in terms of what it takes to build something really huge and really big. So it's going to be up for states to debate. I think the panel did a good job this morning of teeing up some of the issues that are going to be out there in public policy space. It will, I want to solve it this way. This state wants to solve it the other way.
Time for one more question. This gentleman's been waiting a while.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to, we don't get to question senior executives of utility systems very often.
We try and keep it that way.
As you go from Canada to Mexico, and probably the closest thing is geographically speaking at least, is sort of a national utility.
Yeah.
You came to Texas buying the Central and Southwest system. Mm-hmm. And as you were speaking, I echoed back, it's got to be close to 30 years. And the then chief of the CSW system was at a conference and making the noontime speech. And he happened to arrive a little earlier when we were having a panel on cogeneration and competition. Mm. And a leader on that panel was the head of the CSW cogeneration division, which was actively working with industry to develop efficiencies and so forth in cogeneration. And I watched the chief executive, who I knew slightly, get redder and more upset as that speech went on. And within 30 days, there was no more chief of the CSW cogeneration. At least that fellow was no longer the chief. So my question is, you talked about a bit about at the beginning about how do you establish and maintain a university of ideas, a diversity of opinions. We've talked about regulation, we've talked about interest groups, we've talked at the sessions, but we really don't get to talk very much as to how do you, at a large utility conglomerate, I'll call it, because you're in all facets of the business, keep the ability within your hierarchy of encouraging new ideas and balancing the interests of the various components that make the company what it is today, which is a great and innovative company.
Yeah. It's a great question, and I can't say that all companies or even AEP has successfully navigated that over the years, but I'll give you personal perspective, and it's two key issues. One is having a very diverse membership of the board of directors. Our board of directors keep us on our toes, and our executives from, they're not just sort of stooges of the utility industry. They come from a diverse industrial background and diverse regulatory background. They've been through, some of them have been through the deconstruction of AT&T and seen, what competition has done, and so they keep us on our toes, and that's a great starting point from a governance standpoint, is to have a board, and I'm very proud and pleased that we have that. Second thing is, CEO and executive behavior. To the extent that the CEO mandates strategy and there's little or no debate, you are at risk for getting into groupthink and, you know, the boss said, go do this. I am blessed with a CEO who lets us go at it. And sometimes, I mean, I think you'd be surprised that, you know, that's the dumbest idea I've ever heard in my life. You know, we have those dialogues, but at the end of the day, we are very good friends among the executive team. And what we're able to do is to debate these issues for the betterment of our customers and our shareholders. And I think absent those two things, any business could get into a very, very parochial perspective on things. But and I'm not saying we're perfect at it. I mean, I'm sure we miss things, or we could even be wrong after those debates and choose the wrong thing. But we have those debates. We're willing to check and adjust, and I think that's what any business has to do in times of big change to really not get hammered, right? I mean, you got to do that. So.
Excellent.
Well,
Thanks very much.
Thank you. I'm